All right, I got 8:30 for June 2nd. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, Dave, what's going on in your world?
Well, we got the estimate back from the Tumble Glass, and it's got two options in there. If you are thinking about using access control in the future, so you put a card reader outside, and the north door is set up that way, so it's all wired and everything, so it's easy to do. And irregardless whether we decide to do it on this one or not, we set it up the same way where it could be done. The only difference is with option one, we've got two doors that can be locked down or unlocked. But the way they lock is they've got pins that go up into the header and then down into the
Threshold.
down into the threshold. That's how they lock. If you have access control, then they lock into a center mullion. And the second option for this, well, the first option, which wouldn't allow us to have access control in the future, is at $33,750. And if we want access control in the future, we don't have to do it at the time of the install. Everything will still function correctly. But if we're gonna have it in the future, then he's saying that we'll spend $36,100. Now, he and I went over all this stuff and over it again. And we think as far as the design that we've got it the way we want it, you should have a sheet there that pretty well breaks down the way it's gonna look on the front. And then on the top, it would have this part, which is different from the way it is now. Right now, it's just one continuous piece of glass on the top. So that's basically what you're looking at as far as the expense goes. There shouldn't be any additional expense from other contractors, providing we don't discover anything that is unforeseen at this time. We don't believe that there will be, but you know, this building is full of surprises. I know on the bottom end of it that whole lobby was all that floor in the lobby was removed at one time, and there was a metal pan put down, concrete poured on top of it, and then tile. But there is a void underneath there, and that void extends from underneath the lobby just out past the south face of the building underneath. I don't think we're going to get into that space since the existing door is mounted. You know, everything is mounted right on that surface, and I'm sure that surface was created that way so that it would accommodate that door install at the time. So it's wherever we interface with the existing structure, that those are the only places where we might find that there's something unforeseen. We don't believe that there is anything unforeseen. We think that on 3/4 of the install, the aluminum just simply goes back into the stone and it's walked inside and out. That's what we believe it is, but without tearing the whole thing apart, it's impossible. So,
Well, I got several questions.
sure.
Part of it is because I don't know the first thing about any of this, but do we have to replace the arch?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, because it would be too much effort to try and interface with what's there.
So that's my second question then would be, we can't replace just the two doors and leave the frame in place.
No,
Because the concern I have, to be perfectly honest with you, and we're in this situation where we have to discuss it. That's more than half our buildings line item for the next fiscal year. We budgeted $65,000 for the
I
entire
think we've
year.
got money in there, recovery money, which is what we were gonna spend $150,000 at one point to redo that and have that little
Yeah.
thing. I don't think this is out of line at all.
Okay.
It gets it done before the winter comes.
Well, that's the other question I have is, how long are we gonna be? And I know this is not a fair question, but I'm just curious how long.
I asked him and we're gonna be about 2 months out on this.
Well, okay, when you say 2 months out, I'm more concerned about how long it'll take them to do it.
Not
Because
sure,
it is our handicap entrance.
the way it's broken down right now is that the plan is to try to get it done in one day.
Okay,
But getting it done in one day, as he discusses in here, we may not be able to do the arch at that time, but we come back to do the arch. But it's also in his budget to cover that cost for, to restage, but in any event, it's gonna be down for a day, maybe a day and a half, something like that. So you will not have handicap egress
Is it-
to the building at that.
is it
time.
possible, because I know we did it in that project downstairs. Is it possible that they would do it on a weekend?
I can ask, but the only thing that's gonna do is it's just gonna bump up your cost.
Yeah, I know, but
If you schedule for Thursday and Friday, it'd be the same as that.
You know,
There's not that many.
really, the only people that will be turned away would be somebody that requires handicap egress, and there isn't any reason why we can't advertise the fact that we're going to do it. We're gonna have a scheduled date when we're going to do it. It will be a time when the court system isn't going to be impacted. They will know what's going on. And we can certainly let the public know that, that handicap egress, that we will not have handicap egress for maybe a 2-day period. So, with proper planning, we can certainly address all that. He also, in his bid, he also states that, he will be responsible for if the work is not completed in one day, he will be responsible for securing that entrance, until it is complete, but it is a 1 day to day and a half install.
Josh said he'd stay overnight, so.
I told him I would if need be, but I really don't want to.
I think the new auditor should be doing that.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Hey.
She's like, wait, what?
It's my list.
Pay attention.
But, with that whole thing, you really run out of options out there. The doors don't function the way they should. I've come in here several times, after hours and had to get that westerly door closed. We know that the operator that's currently in there cannot be replaced. And it's to the point where it's to the point where it can't be repaired either. So as soon as that thing goes down, then you're looking at this whole thing in an uncontrolled install where you might be sitting around for 2 months without handicap egress. So
So it's on your agenda, folks, to discuss and consider. I guess what you have to discuss and consider is which version do you want to discuss and consider?
Well, we've talked about using the card readers instead of keys, and it's like what, $2,500 difference?
yeah, we do have, it would still be keyed, okay? There'll still be a key to unlock it.
But you could also put in to read it with it.
Yes,
With the card.
yes. But that, the card reader, that's an expense from a different contractor, but like I said, it does not have to be done right now.
Yeah,
But at the same time, we would be asking this contractor to replace the core on the other door, so that both doors are keyed alike. And if we do not do the access control at the time of the install, then we're gonna have to make some duplicate keys for everybody who wants egress into the building until the access control is installed. So it's not a big expense, but it is an expense to, to make so many keys and have the core replaced.
Well, I think we still have, Susie reminded me, I hadn't thought about that, but I think we have a pool of money that we have to have expended by the end of next year. 26,
No, by the end of December of this year,
okay,
and by the 1st of 26.
okay. So otherwise, I have to put it in my account, so.
that's okay, as long as you give me access to it,
No.
that's fine.
Not a problem. I won't be able to use it because I'll be in jail. Yeah, so again, what I hear you saying is that you think that the second, whichever one it is,
Yeah. Oh, option 2.
option 2.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, that's gonna be something that you're gonna have to go to at some point in the future. And we can't, if we go with the option 1, we can't come back and retrofit everything to it. So you have to go to option 2.
Are you making a motion?
I guess I'm gonna make a motion that we go with option 2,
Second.
get it on the list and as soon as they can do
Out of
it.
ARPA funds.
Oh, out of opera funds, yes.
Yep. So Susie and I both made the motion.
Did you see?
I seconded it.
This one, and then we went this way.
Yeah. I'll shake this up.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Do you guys wanna send a request over to him to ask for a contract on this thing? Because right now we have,
Okay.
That would be a good idea.
All right. Anything else for us, Dave?
we have the same old thing that we always have, which is mini split. And we have one more head to put in the break room downstairs, and then this little project will come to an end, and it should be complete. So that should be complete today.
Well, I can tell you this from personal experience, they're cold,
Yeah. So
aren't they?
So in the clerk of court's office upstairs. Last year, we put in a new wash unit in the office itself. But that system was previously set up, and it was installed about eight years ago, where there was 3 heads up there. So there was one in the office, there was one in the magistrate's office, and then there's one back in the jury deliberation room. So we isolated the 2 other ones by turning up the temperature in the office up there so it would not work. And that got us through the season last year. But right now the compressor outside is not working. We salvaged a motor, a fan motor out of another unit out of the unit that we just replaced outside. And the unit's still not working. Contractor says if we replace the motherboard in the compressor that we made, that it may come on, it may not. But that's an expensive $700. If that doesn't work, then the magistrate's courtroom and the jury deliberation room will be going without air conditioning.
Put it on the agenda for next week.
You'll make a decision quicker in the jury room.
Well, it's just,
Yeah, we can.
right now it's kind of a crapshoot. We can throw $700 at it and hopefully that fixes the problem. But if it doesn't fix the problem, we know that we are periodically having troubles with the mini splits in the Veterans Affairs office and also in Christie's office. Those two heads are on the same thing. So
So where are they hooked into? Is it just the splits or, I guess my question is that what compressor runs those?
on both of the systems in question, they're both the Fujitsu stuff that we installed years ago that turned out to not be a good product.
Right.
So we've got two compressors outside right now. One is running Veterans Affairs in Christie's office. The other one is running the two heads up on the second floor. If for some reason we continue to have trouble with the Veterans Affairs in Christie's office, then we would be able to put all four heads on one compressor because we're using the Bosch equipment now. It's just something that could happen down the road. It could be that in the jury deliberation room and the magistrate's office, it hasn't really been getting hot, and because it's on the east side of the building and the sun moves around the building, we're able to pick up some of the AC from the air handler in the attic and also from the other room upstairs. I'm just telling you that.
Right. Well, like Susie said, we have to put it on next week's agenda, but would we get the $700 back? There's no point in leaving a new board in a machine that won't work.
No, once it comes out and it's installed, it's used. So, no.
Well, that's not the way we did business blockers, but didn't work, then we pulled it back out, used it somewhere else, but they should be able to tell the second they put it in, if it doesn't fire up, it's not gonna work, so take it back out, don't charge us for it. Well, to me, that's the way you do business. You don't know whether something's gonna work until you put it in there, and I'm not suggesting that they're wrong, I'm just simply saying that as a technician for 33 years, if I put a part in the machine and it doesn't work, I don't charge you for it. I took it back out. Seems logical to me.
I'm not gonna ask the contractor to try and return a used piece of equipment. I don't
It's
know.
only used if it works. If it doesn't work, it's not used.
Yeah, but you don't know if installing it's going to ruin it.
I suppose you can go that.
That's the
It's not the
argument,
way
that's
I
the
do
argument they'll
business.
give you, and that's everything I've ever experienced.
Anyway,
when
we
I'm
can't make a
fixing
decision
appliances.
on these days.
Yeah,
Well, that's fine. So,
And I'd like to send the state a bill for theirs.
Read my mind.
are we all set?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, that,
Yep. It'll be done.
Dwayne,
Good morning,
dip seal and salsa.
chip seal and salsa, they're up, finishing 1/10 this morning, just the first coat, so they will not be 100% complete up there. But with weather in the forecast, they're gonna mobilize down to Lock Ridge and try and get one coat on that as well to make it weather safe. Hopefully they'll get as much done as they can, see how that works.
They have to finish putting the rock on down at Lock Ridge, right? Or they get it all rolled
They
on?
got the rock all in last week.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, they moved back down there
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Okay.
Norris's guys were putting the rock on, so while Pelling was up applying chip seal to 1/10, Norris's crew was down on 2/18. And in Henry County getting that done. So they should be able to just roll down there and get started as soon as they get mowed. See how Mother Nature treats us and get done what we can on that. Then tractor cade comes through next week, so that's the main reason we're moving them back down to Lockridge, is to try and get that condition for the tractors to roll through.
Is it still on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I heard a rumor over the weekend, but that's all, so.
Yeah, and then They have a lunch stop at the church off of 146th on the 9th. So our crews are going to dress up that route, that stretch of road for the tractor kids benefit this week. They got the second bridge rail poured last week, so now they'll get ready for doing the approach pavements. That'll pretty well take this week, and if they're lucky, they may get one of those poured. And they start on the off-site grading work. See, we had our safety meeting this morning. I found a nice vintage safety video from 1980 that surprisingly was still very, very much to the point on taking your time to make sure that your site's safe and that your equipment's locked out and headed out. So it was a little funny seeing some of the old clothes and they actually had a theme
It's still
song.
hanging in my closet.
They had a theme song for the video that was kind of catchy. The guys will have that going around in their heads all week, I'm afraid. But if it gets them to slow down, that's the important thing. Let's see. Oh, Velvet Leaf Bridge. Jake Rizwinitsky from the BNSF got back with me late Friday. And they would offer the county $100,000 to allow them to close that bridge, and they would take care of all of the demolition of the overpass. We'd just be responsible for putting up a hard road closure after they were done. So that's something I'll get on next week for setting up a public hearing. Something to think about. And that should be all I have.
Where did you say that lunch stop was for
The church up off of 146, I don't remember.
That Hope Lutheran.
That's it,
Yeah,
hopefully.
yeah. I was looking behind you to coordinate because I knew she'd know.
Yeah, it's just east of Germanville Road on 146.
Before they do, come into the church, eat, and then go back out and
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's a mid-morning break. It's their
Oh,
idea. They're having lunch up at Brady, I guess.
okay.
Anything else for Doyle? I'm still trying to get my arms around being vintage.
Vintage is cool, retro's cool.
We need to get a t-shirt saying vintage on it.
Okay,
That's our
don't
merit.
go down that road. Discuss and consider agreement with the IDOT for asphalt paving the county road approaches on Highway 78. It's in your packet, number 3. And it is, the amount of the cost of the county to do 4 intersections. We would pay, what'd you say, 40 feet?
I think that's what they have. It's pretty much just far enough back so that
Approaches. Yeah,
the approach, so a vehicle will be completely on pavement when they stop and start, and that eliminates the potholing that you get at the approaches and the maintenance.
so it's a total, or well, no, not, we don't know for sure. This is a share of the project cost estimated at $38,275. This shall be determined by the actual quantities in place and the accepted bid at the contract letting.
Is there any grant money for something like this? Nothing.
Now, the grants you have to have. I mean, if we wanted to do a project ourselves and do it, we could apply for a grant. So there's about a 2-year cycle it takes for you to get the grant. But then you wouldn't be getting the favorable pricing that you're gonna get on.
Oh, they're already here, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the money for this?
I will by the time they bill us.
Okay,
This comes out of the maintenance budget.
okay.
And So at this point, I'm guessing it will be out for bid this summer. And or may already have been bid. I honestly don't know. I don't track the DOT stuff, but they'll do construction either late this year or next year, and then generally they don't bill us until after the project's gone through audit, which so sometime in fiscal 28, I would suspect we'll get billed for this.
I understand. Thank you.
While they're looking that over and see what they want to do, I want to ask you a question. Years ago, when they built the bypass out here by Hartman Co-op, there's that frontage road that they're using to go into the co-op. And the DOT never did that over to us.
Right,
They
that
have
is-
jurisdiction over it in terms of allowing for use, but I don't want to have to be the one that has to repair that road. What I wanted to do was get the DOT to deed that stretch over, and then we would deed it to Hardin Co-op.
Yeah, right now, we treat that like it's the DOT.
Okay.
I don't think we plow it. I'll have to
You're
double check
talking
into
that
that.
drive into
Yeah,
Heartland.
that's DOT right of way that
We
runs
we
back.
tried for a long time to get
over,
that, get them to deed that over
Yeah.
so that we can give it to Hardin so that they would be.
Yeah, they've got kind of an odd area of right of way there. It goes back and then they must have had a staging area for construction that they got a permanent easement for, because it goes back in at whatever the width of the road is plus a little, and then it jogs out and has maybe a half-acre staging area sitting there that's all either. So
I just can envision when it comes time to fix the road, the DOT say, oh, we'll deed that over to you. Anyway. That's usually the way it works.
for all intents and purposes, it's Heartland's driveway. They should just give it to Heartland.
Yeah, exactly. So do we have a motion to approve?
We'll move.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meet with ambulance director.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Go what? People do some work.
You want a signed copy before you go, Dwayne?
Oh, yeah, that'd be handy. Does. That used to have your auditor in office to do that.
All right, so welcome to June. In May, we had 180 calls. 43 of those were transfers from Jefferson County. I think we did
180, is that what you said?
180 calls. Yep, 43 were transfers. Still looking at billing numbers for May, for May, but it's gonna be a while before that comes in. Other than that, I mean, not really a lot new going on. We still have a full-time and a part-time position open. I have an applicant that I need to get into, get her physical and stuff done. I was approached from another EMT that wants to come on PRN as well. The troponin tests, still kicking that around. Heard from Dr. Marino over the weekend. Seems a little hesitant now. So that's kind of on hold for a second, but.
She indicate why?
Just that, which, again, nothing that anybody has brought up has been shocking to us. There's not a lot of research in the pre-hospital setting regarding that test. So I think that causes a little bit of apprehension, but the way to get that research is to do it. So I want to try it and see how it goes. So I still have yet to get back to her, but
Well, I would think,
that'll
I
happen
guess,
today.
thinking on her behalf. If there's a concern about the cost, a cost increase or whatever to the malpractice insurance. You know, I don't know. In other words, I don't know if that's considered an additional risk. We pay the malpractice insurance. And she's been very fair to us, so I don't want to do anything to rock. her
Yeah,
boat.
absolutely, absolutely. I think there's, like I said, just a little bit of apprehension about it because it's new.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still want to try it and see how it goes, just on a trial basis, but we'll have some more conversations and see where it moves, but. Other than that, I did the Foundations of Accreditation workshop last week. It was super pointless because I didn't learn anything because I had been through it before. But it was another block to check on the accreditation process for the training program. So we will keep moving forward with that and get our application in for accreditation. So
September, maybe?
hopefully.
You have what, 12, 15?
Oh, I think we're up to like 19 or 20 that are interested in the paramedic, so.
Some of our own folks too.
Mhm, yeah. Questions for me? You what?
No,
I'm giving you the side eye, you're like.
I was gonna be snotty, but I said, yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So, we'll address an issue, well, I'm thinking about not an issue specifically, but you sent an email out regarding a question about HR.
Yeah,
And did you get my email?
I did,
Okay, so I'm gonna.
and several others.
I'm gonna clarify
Okay.
for everybody. Point is that we have gone in a different direction starting July 1st, just so that everybody knows, regarding HR. And we are no longer, I don't remember the name of the company, but the individuals.
Versed.
No, I mean, the other company.
INCS.
Yeah, that INCS, whatever. So we have entered into an agreement with Chelsea Stoll, Versed, right? HR, but all HR questions to everybody that's listed are to be directed towards Christie and or Darcy. And then if they need advice, further assistance or whatever, they will reach out to Chelsea and they will work out the situation. But your contact, everybody, all the departments, your contact is Christie or Darcy in the auditor's office. That's the procedure moving forward.
I don't know where the disconnect came from then,
No,
because
that's fine.
Jack, did you guys see the email when he felt like Jack sent that out and said whatever, unless I misunderstood, yeah, yeah.
So, but that's the
And his list
direction.
of people was random.
So I just wanted everybody to know that the
Seems really
contact
short.
point is the auditor's office, specifically Christie and or Darcy. And then they will determine whether or not they need to go further up the food chain.
Perfect. All right.
All right, number 4, discuss and consider
Thanks,
disposal system. Yes, thanks, John. Contractor's license for SCI Drain and Excavating LLC. I have not heard anything from Jerry.
I don't know if he sent this.
Jerry did? Okay. So I'm assuming he's okay with it.
If he's seen it, yes, because there was discussion of raising that bond to 20,000. Because they didn't think 10 would cover it, but they haven't moved on anything that I'm aware of.
Well, I'm not sure that discussion shouldn't come before us rather than the Board of Health, because the bond comes here. And we are listed as the Board of Supervisors. But that's a discussion. You go to something. Well, purchase, power of turf.
Everything seems in place, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
So we just need to approve it, or?
Yeah,
but you got here. Right. They haven't passed it, if that's what you were, that's what I meant. She was pointing out that this is a bond of at least $10,000 as required in section 3 of the above ordinance. I'm just not sure that when we have the discussion, if they're wanting to increase the bond moving forward, that it shouldn't be. And I guess I'll throw this ball into Elizabeth's court. We've always been the ones that have received the bond, or whatever you want to call it. And so I think,
I'm still on approving them.
What?
Yeah, I'm still on approving them.
right. And so I think that, I guess what I'm saying is that, not in regards to this, but if there's gonna be an increase in the bond, either we need to be out of the loop altogether and it's run by public health, or we make the determination as to whether or not we want to increase the bond. But we've had 10,000 on a bond, and that generally doesn't cover things. I get that, I understand. So, but that's a conversation that I think we should be having rather than public health.
Well, it was discussed at a public health meeting about.
And I understand that, and I'm not finding fault. I think it falls under our jurisdiction currently. County ordinance 3-15. Anyway, I would make a motion to approve this.
so moved. Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discuss and consider memorandum of understanding for agreement to provide mental health patient advocacy. And some, I think it was, Abby said we've already done this, but there was an amendment. Is that right, Abby?
Something to do with the rates.
I wanted to know more about it. I reached out to,
I feel like maybe it said July 1, 2024.
Okay.
In this version.
I wanted to reach out, or did reach out to Ryan Wood, hoping that I could talk to her, but I guess she's no longer person to talk to. I just want to know. There is no dollar figure in here. But it says the agreement is to provide mental health patient advocacy in the participating counties. And it says Des Moines County shall provide mental health patient advocacy and support in the participating counties. That's right, that's DMC is Des Moines County, right? The agreement will be conducted by the Des Moines County Supervisors.
It doesn't say how much.
Right. And we don't have a mental health levy anymore. And I don't know if the state is paying for this. There's nothing in this agreement that here it says something about the fee, if any, to participate.
Good try.
Yeah. If there's any fee, it will be billed quarterly commencing July 2025. I won't sign an agreement that I don't know what the dollar amount's gonna be.
I agree with you, Lee.
And I don't know who to contact. I guess maybe the auditor at Des Moines County. I don't know who's in charge anymore because I guess like I say, Ryan Wood, who was always my go-to person, is no longer involved in this, so. I would ask the auditor's office to reach out to the auditor's office.
Thank you, Christie.
So we'll table this for the time being, if that's.
I think
It's
it's smart.
fine. We don't have enough info.
Discuss and consider spending opioid money for, why do you put all these big words in here? Implementation of joint program between the school and extension office.
Excellent.
Well, thank you.
Great, okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Courtney had called me to ask about maybe the opioid money being used for what they want to do. And you can ask Elizabeth, we've talked about this in an opioid meeting.
Offers raise
Yeah,
the program?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked generally multiple times about allocating some funds for implementing some kind of program in the schools. I just didn't know what kind of program would be beneficial, and then the school kind of came up with one on their own, essentially.
So I'm Courtney Burkhalter and I work at the Extension Office.
I'm Abby Dingman. I work at the Extension Office.
And this is a program that was developed by Iowa State. It's been around about 30 years. It's research-based. They've done a lot of research and follow-up with families in those 30 years as well. And they only offer training every so often. This is not just an Iowa program, it's across the country and other countries in the world as well. And so they were offering a training in Ames in April, and I reached out to Jay Thompson at the middle school to see if this is something that we could maybe offer at the middle school, to see if there was a chance that they could sort of partner with us to also have someone at the school train. And so he and Abby and I attended the training in April, and it's a training that does take 3 trained facilitators, but then it also takes some funds beyond that to offer the training. So I'll let Abby explain the training a little bit.
So it is a 7-session program. So it'd be done for 7 weeks for families with youth ages 10 to 14. And it is a 2-hour program. The first hour, the parents and the youth are split off and they're doing stuff separately. And then the second hour, they come together and do it as a family. It is the #1 prevention program for substance abuse. What else?
And then it's,
For every dollar spent on this program, $9.60 comes back to the community as benefits in forms of less jail time, less time off work, and less time in treatment.
and really it's a program for all families. Some of the topics that they talk about are just like from the parent side, setting love and limits, and what does that look like? The first hour is parents watching videos and kind of facilitator-based discussion with them, and maybe how they might handle some situations in families, what they think of certain topics. And for the youth, it's really about giving them tools to resist peer pressure for no matter what that pressure might be.
Yeah, I can go through the sessions. The first session is using love and limits. Making house rules is the second. The third is encouraging good behavior. The fourth is using consequences. The fifth is building bridges. The sixth is protecting against substance abuse. And the seventh is kind of a culmination and kind of like a where can you go from here, and a celebration at the end of the program. We hope to do it in the school. We plan on doing it in the school. It's for not just normal type families. It's for all different types.
Yeah, so we talked about how like the facilitator that trained us is talking about how sometimes it's grandparents coming or neighbors or just somebody, it can be any supporting
Any
caring
caregiver.
adult that's willing to invest their time with the youth. And as Abby said, we are planning for it in the fall, so we kind of have it on the calendar for October and into November, 7 Mondays in a row. It requires the 3 trained facilitators, so Extension paid for Abby and I to be trained, the school paid for Jay Thompson to be trained. And we've already bought all the office supplies. We're going to be providing all the program materials. What we need some help with funding would be meals for the families, because it's a 2-hour in the evening. So we come for the first half hour and have a meal together. And it would be for the parents, for the kids, for everyone. And then, if needed, we put some money in the budget for transportation or childcare. So Jay's already talked to the school. They're willing to let him use a Suburban to help transport families. But if we have families maybe from opposite ends of the county, you know, we can't maybe facilitate getting all of them there by one school Suburban. So if needed, we could provide some gas cards, gas money somehow and reimbursement to get some of the families there if they needed that. Childcare would be something that we don't necessarily provide, but if the families do have younger kids at home, we could provide reimbursement to them. So they would find someone to watch their own children, but we would help reimburse that just as an incentive to make sure that they're able to make it to the program and really be focused on the materials that are there while they're there and have that opportunity to. The program can be led for 10 to 12 families at one time for 3 trained facilitators. So we already have the 3, we're planning on that for this fall. But there are 3 staff at the school who are interested in being trained. And as I said, the training is only kind of offered randomly different times. And they're setting up dates right now. We just got those on Friday for this summer. And so Jay's reaching out to school. We just unfortunately don't have an answer yet if those dates work for those 3 individuals. But if they do, if we could secure funding to help train 3 more, then we're looking at being able to reach maybe 20 to 24 families in the fall with this program. But it would be offered free of charge for the families. And again, as a way to kind of strengthen the family relationship and be beneficial to the schools and community as well.
And Jay does already know there is 1, if not 2 families that are already interested to put them on the list.
So what day of the week or days of the
It would be a Monday night.
Monday night?
Yep, yeah.
Like,
Monday,
It would run from October
October,
to November up to
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
yeah, and then we have a scheduled day if there's bad weather, like in early December.
well, on those families that may need transportation, that Suburban,
Mhm.
whatever, I would urge you to contact Jay Allison at 1015 Transit.
Okay,
And even if, you know, I don't know what you're looking at, but
Mhm.
we do demand response.
Okay.
So simply if, you know, we have to have at least 24 hours notice, but
Mhm.
they would know ahead of time.
Okay.
And then we do door to door, so we could pick them up afterwards, depending
Okay.
upon the times and stuff.
Okay.
And, you know, it might be, if it's in town, it would be $2 each way, but if it was out of town, out of Fairfield, it might be $4 each way, but it gives you an idea.
okay, thank you.
And he may, you know, they may facilitate something,
Okay,
but not charge, but have a conversation.
okay, thank you, that's good to know.
What if you have a situation where the student wants to do this, but parents are not interested or vice versa? If the student does it, it has to have a responsible adult with them too to participate, or have you even thought about anything like that? Or is it even a possibility, something like that?
I wouldn't say it wouldn't be a possibility. Other people that have been trained in this have had certain situations kind of like that. If a parent was interested in just not the youth, it's fine. We have heard when we were at the training, the facilitators just had them join another family. Like families get very connected throughout this process, throughout this program, and at the end of it, they are very close. So I think a family would just adopt that person for the night if they are okay with it.
I think the examples we heard were more of parents coming with the youth, not, you know, for whatever reason, the youth was unable to attend, but the parents came anyway. I don't know if they really gave a lot of examples of youth coming without parents, but I think in that situation, yes,
Yeah.
we just find another family that they could work with, or that's part of the reason I think with the 3 trained facilitators is we can sort of step in and fill in and help as well.
So there's one facilitator with the adults during that part, and then when they're split off, and 2 with the youth, and then they all come together and do stuff as a family.
Okay.
It would be best if they
Yeah.
do it together, but if not, I think
Yeah.
that's a situation we just
I
work
mean,
through.
a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
would
exactly.
arise.
Yeah.
So probably after you do one session, word's gonna get out, or you're gonna be a lot more interested.
So
Yeah.
even if we only are able to do with 3 trained facilitators this fall for 10 to 12 families, I think in the next year, even if we can get the other 3 teachers at the school and then kind of build up from there, at least we would have a start this fall by offering the 1 session for 10 to 12 anyway.
So Courtney, when we talked, you'd mentioned about perhaps training money for training facilitators. And I believe that was $850. Also lodging and stuff, and we're up there. The feed, excuse me, food for the meals and stuff. I think this is very, very interesting, very beneficial. When I used to work with kids like this, it would have really helped. You know, so.
On the back of this paper, if you want a little more information, it does give a breakdown of some numbers and after they have completed the program for the youth, how they can how do I work with that?
It usually, it just delays their, usually their involvement within substance
Yeah.
abuse till they're older. So we talked about in the training, when youth are using substances at a younger age, then they typically have a harder time for the rest of their life, maybe with some of these things, versus if we can delay it to when they're older, then they're able to usually make smarter decisions at the older age of what they're going to be involved with and not as far as activities.
So I want to just ask a question regarding age. Is 10 too late? In other words, what I'm asking is that could you start at a younger age, or would they be able to grasp it?
So the program itself, being research-based from Iowa State, they're suggesting 10 to 14, although I do believe they said sometimes maybe you, like if it's a family that has a student who's 12, they might bring their 9-year-old with them as
Yeah.
well, but probably not too far down from that. But I do understand what you're saying is sometimes it could be.
Yeah.
I don't think we have jurisdiction over that. I mean,
The opioid money?
well, yeah, do we have to, I mean, I'm saying, I'm okay with it.
Oh, yeah, I think, I'd like to make a motion, we give them $10,000.
Okay,
That'll take care of the 3 people you want to train. We'll take care of the expenses of the training. It'll give them a lot of money in bank to see, help these folks. I think it's a great idea. I
No,
was just
I-
sitting here thinking, Lee, could they do that with us?
train us?
Yeah.
I don't think that.
It's too
I
late.
agree with that.
Maybe do.
And we'd be happy to share back with you participation numbers and how things went.
Yeah, Lee, if I could use my nephew as example. Oh my God, I can't believe we got him through high school. He's now 35 years old. He's great.
Yeah.
35 years is a long time to wait for somebody to get great. If this helps a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I don't know what the answers are, I should have well learned, I lost a nephew.
Yeah.
And, all of, law enforcement stepped up to help, I mean, it was all the things that they did to try to help, and
Yeah.
was even allegedly clean for a year while he was in, I don't know, what I call it, jail, wherever he.
Rehab.
Well, he was actually doing time.
Animals.
And I don't know what it was, wasn't. Was out, had a weekend that he didn't have to report. The rest is history, as they say, so if we can get to them before they get.
Yeah, I think this, we've done, the opioid committee has spent a lot of money on little things that this is just gonna be another one of those things. There's something else gonna be on the agenda next Monday for that, but I think it's money well spent.
So my other question is, this is would be an ongoing,
Yep.
okay? So how do we, I don't know how long the opioid funds would last.
I think they last until we're done spending them.
Well, I mean, what I meant was, I don't know how much more we're looking possibly at receiving.
I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately.
The checks come in little by little. I think the scans of $5,000 something last week or the week prior that came in.
Because you said it's 7 weeks, so would you want to, when that 7 weeks is over, do you want all another 7 weeks, or do you wait a couple weeks before you?
So we would do 7 weeks this fall and then probably take a break through the winter with the weather and such. And if we would do it again, if we can get, I put it this way, if we can get the staff trained this summer, when we do it this fall, we'll try to just reach the 20 to 24 families at once. And that's kind of like offer it twice in the fall and offer it the next year. If not, we'll probably offer it in the fall and then again in the spring. So kind of just, unfortunately, I wish we knew those answers right now, but we may not know for a month or so yet, kind of how that's gonna work. And then, and go from there.
So the request now is approximately $10,000 or like $9,630 if you do that additional training. And then what you would be coming back for potentially is just this funding request of around $5,000 if you did
Yeah.
another
Yeah,
session.
yeah. So the training is thankfully like the one-time fee, get them trained, and then it'll
Yeah.
just be meals, from there on. And at some point in time, if we need to reach out, to businesses or find donations, we can pursue that as well.
Well, I think that's the reason I asked about the funding was because as long as we had funding,
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
that we'd be open to continue.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second, right?
Yep. She made a motion.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Give Jay a call, tell him I'm going.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for coming in.
Yes,
Thank you
very much. We
Yes,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
It's nice to meet you.
You know,
You
I
too.
appreciate that because we can really hear instead of just bringing you what we think, you know.
I do have a big favor to ask in the next round of funding
Oh,
is
dear.
can you wear Iowa Hawkeye shirt?
But we work for ours.
Yeah, we think
We
about
might
it.
get in trouble.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Lee, did you have any questions about the jurisdiction that the supervisors have over the funding money? You didn't, that wasn't.
What I meant was that, we established the opioid committee and
Yep.
she's kind of overseeing the opioid funds.
Mhm.
And I just always felt like that that ball was in her court, and if the committee and she thought that was the way to go, that's what I meant.
So, I mean, it's an advisory committee.
Okay.
Ultimately, you guys determine how those funds are spent.
Okay.
Now while we didn't discuss this program specifically,
Right.
we have talked a lot about the importance of getting some kind of evidence-based
Right.
prevention program in the schools. And what we always ran up against is finding one that the school was actually going to get on board with and how we approach the school board, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
When Jay Thompson informed us that they had already received this training and that, it was already kind of like going forward, they just need some additional funding. I think that's where Susie was thinking, well, we've already discussed this
Right.
generally,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, no,
Why?
and I mean, way back when it was on it, when Pat was still here and
Yeah.
it was, CETA was when the alcohol and
ACT, yeah.
and all that, yeah, and we did lots of programs at the middle school and other places. So any, what's what we're looking for? Interaction or something with the youth, that's why I asked about whether we could start younger,
Yeah.
because it is amazing how
Yeah.
young they do start.
And they're also developing, they told us about it at our training, it's still in the developing stages, like booster sessions, like there's supposedly 2 different booster sessions that families that have completed the program could come to, and they talk about a little more, there's some different topics that they talk about on those, but be like booster sessions that they can come to, so those are in the development stages.
I personally think what a lot of this is for the kids, especially the younger ones, and you address it in there, in here. So I want to be cool,
Mhm.
and peer
Yeah.
pressure is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ultimate.
And a lot of the youth, during the youth, private sessions is a lot of simulations and how can you do this and what would you do in this situation and game simulations. So it gives them kind of that experience hands-on of how they can go about that situation.
Yeah, I really don't think they want to do it, but I think that they're afraid to say no.
Mhm.
And I was really impressed with taking the training, how discussions, whether it's the 2 facilitators kind of role playing or them role playing, like this happens, how would you handle it? What are some things you can say? What are some alternatives we can do instead? And so I think it would be good.
Nice.
The amount of feedback that they said they've had youth that'll come into it not wanting to participate and they end in the 5th, 6th, 7th session having so much fun. They're
Mhm.
fully involved in the session, wanting to do everything that they can, so.
Well, you're bringing parents together too. And
Mhm.
I raised 2 girls, and the best thing you can do is get to know the parents of their friends.
Mhm.
And
Yep,
it's
yeah.
very vital that you know that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Who, what, when, and where.
Yep.
That's one of the topics.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
So
Thank
keep
you.
her up to speed on things so we
Yes, yep.
see how our money is spent.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Or
much.
come back, Abby, at some point.
Yeah, you can come back.
Courtney, you too.
Thank you.
But now they know about Kate Martin, I'm, all happy. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee reports.
Oh, gee whiz. So, the workforce board that I'm on, they're putting a pause on, doing away with Job Corps.
Okay.
But I doubt if it works, I would imagine they'll still do away with Job Corps. Which is too bad. It's helped a lot of people. Or a lot of young folks get some type of training. So it's just like with a lot of things, you just wait and see what we're gonna do. If they close it, there's gonna be a hell of a facility available for somebody.
Out at the airport?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I know we just put some money out there to the airport. I think it was for truck driving.
Yeah, that's what the CDL program is out there, yeah.
When I say we, I mean Area 15.
Sure, sure. It's just all interesting, I have a CETA board meeting tonight and I understand there's really some significant things they're gonna talk about based on what's going on in the world today. Other than that, what did I do?
Done?
Yeah, yeah.
Tuesday I had Grove Fairfield. I zoomed in on that. Wednesday, we had the program over at the Civic Center on Stop the Scammers with the Iowa Attorney General's office and Division of Insurance and Fraud and Insurance. Thursday, Eco Lab with Traction Thursday. I was invited to the Mazda Barnes meeting Thursday night, went and listened to what's going on there. Had a RAC meeting on Thursday at noon. And that's it.
Who meeting?
RAC meeting, Resilient Action Committee. They're planning about
Oh,
the,
come on now. I get it's a pool table. You put them in that little triangle thing and you rack up.
oh, I'll have to remember
Okay.
that.
Oh dear. I do want to say,
Yeah.
I did have the Maston Barnes meeting on Thursday night. They were talking about different projects they're gonna do in the next year. I think by next spring, we're gonna have an Iowa Barn Federation come to Jefferson County to look at barns, have a big barn tour.
Oh, sweet.
So all weekend I spent driving around taking
They're
pictures
not
of
gonna look at little
barns.
barns, you just
Huh?
a big barn tour.
No, they'll look at little barns. There's some pretty cool little barns. Anyway.
Did you find some barns around?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
The main thing that I came away with, Melanie Carlson was there. I had to look and see if she's up there. But she was talking about, the annexation and stuff like this. Didn't mention TIF once. It almost sounds like it wasn't quite a done deal. What do you think?
She didn't mention it. So I don't know.
I don't either. Big letters print so we can read it.
Well, I attended a softball game Friday night.
Oh, listen.
So I had, I was unable to make that broad thing.
It was very good.
I had doctor's appointment, my bladder didn't, that went well, although he told me, he says, you got snowflakes, and I'm not saying, are snowflakes in the bladder, what does that mean? Evidently I had infection. Anyway, other than that, everything was good. I had an Area 15 regional planning meeting last Tuesday, and there was a couple of things that came out of that. One, Fairfield has asked us to do a grant writing assistance for CDVG program. For a wastewater project. Well, how we just spent tens of millions of dollars on our wastewater, and I asked the question, they said, well, it says based on census, they don't have to do an income threshold survey, because the income, this is what I found perplexing, the income is below the 51%. Sorry, 51% level. So the city of Fairfield is, they don't have to do an income survey because they qualify for low income. But I'm thinking, what, another wastewater project, right?
I like these kids.
And then,
So it's a waste, right?
I don't know. I'm just thinking my water bill's gonna go up again. We received an application for ready funds from Better Natural. Proposal for solar roof and truss factory. And, there was a lack of collateral. And the guarantor's strength was weak, so it did not meet the $2 to $1 ratio of outside funds. So we said no to it. We didn't approve the application. And then there was also another applicant in Fairfield. Who have a doggy daycare business, but there's been no response from the applicant other than, I guess they reached out and asked a question. And unfortunately, at this point, Agassiz Historic Loss, which is local individuals here, they've been denied twice now for the low-income housing tax credits. So they're applying a third time. They've requested an extension, said the 2025 application was not funded. They've indicated they'll apply again in 26.
What was the name of that?
Agassiz Historic Loss. Agassiz is a school or a former school building in a tumble.
Oh, okay, this is Wapco County.
Right.
Okay.
But
okay.
it's just, we have some local entrepreneurs or whatever that are in that kind of work. They did a Loudon's building and other types of projects. And so I am somewhat surprised that they were denied because they're very good at what they do. And so, but they're applying again for a third time. And so we had 2 Iowa prison industry homes approved for Fairfield. And they're $99,000 for 3-bedroom. Price is likely to increase after June 30th. But one of them was brought to Fairfield this last week. Midweek, the week before.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody happened to see it. It was coming up 6th Street. And this particular house was going to be put on a foundation on the corner of 7th and Jackson.
Yeah.
Why they came up 6th Street is beyond me. Because they had to turn then onto Jackson, and then if you're familiar with 7th and Jackson, it's a jog. Well, they tore the house up trying to get it in there.
Oh,
And so I don't know if they're gonna have to redo the roof or what they're gonna have to do. Coming up 7th Street would have been a challenge in and of itself. I get that, trying to come off of Fillmore, but anyway, they got the house on the foundation. It was a rather interesting process, and there is one foundation on 6th Street. That's why I thought that's where they were
Yeah.
going. So Fairfield has 2 in the works, and I don't know when the second one is due to be here. And that's all I have. And then we have a gentleman here, Joe from Liberty Communications. If you wanna call him up?
I did graduate from the University of Iowa, so
Okay,
I'm a Hawkeye.
there you go. I appreciate that.
How you doing? My name is Joe, with Liberty Communications. Just came by to introduce myself, work with you folks quite a bit and Looking to possibly earn your folks' business through the Jefferson County. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are or not, but I just wanted to introduce myself to you folks and then go from there.
Well, I don't know.
Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
Lydia and Abby.
I don't know. Actually, I mean, we're on Lisco
Mhm.
and, family called John works on the phones. In fact, I think that's who we got the phones through, actually.
Is Lesco?
No, John.
Oh, John, okay.
But I don't know, I don't even know I wouldn't know who to have him talk to as far as what we actually have in here. Ray pays the bills. And I really don't know. I think if I'm not mistaken, you guys hooked up the sheriff's office on fiber.
We did.
Center.
Yep, we hooked up the sheriffs, we helped out the city of Mount Pleasant. So we have the library, police department and the city of. And then we also help out West Liberty and West Branch. And then we have Appanoose County and we have the city of I was going to say Central City, sorry, Centerville. So we're used to working with governments and we love to work with you folks.
Well, we can't make any decision because it's not on the agenda, but
Well, and I haven't, we haven't done any proposals or anything like that for you folks. And that's all I'm asking is, can I get you some proposals so you can see kind of what we can do for you?
Yeah.
And not only do we do fiber, but we do, if you guys have something that's hard to get to, we've got a wireless type of internet that we can get out to you, and we can do voice over that also.
so you do homes.
We do homes also. Yep. If I had $1 every time I was asked that, I'd be a rich man.
Okay. All right. We'll have to talk. I got your card. We'll have to talk.
Okay.
So I don't know where all your fiber is.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
it's probably not Voorhees.
I'll get you to the right people. I'm the business rep, but I will get you to the correct person to get you.
So I guess that's what I would say is that once you get a proposal, you could bring it to us, get hold of Abby to get on the agenda so that we
Okay.
can, otherwise.
Who would I go through? I think you said Ray, is that right?
Yeah.
That I would get
Well,
the bills from?
Ray's the one that pays the bills
Okay,
for Lisco and stuff.
that's what I need to know. So I need to know, apples for apples, what you folks have, and then go from there.
So I don't know if Ray's in his office or not. He's
Okay.
our Veterans Affairs Coordinator.
Okay,
But he takes care of the Lisco.
Okay.
bills. So,
okay.
and I don't even know what like you say, I don't know what we have, and I don't know
Sure.
what the other departments. do.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but it would, because we got the recorder and I'm assuming treasurer's gonna might be someone, I don't know, you just have to, I would recommend you talk to each
Sure.
of them individually
Okay.
to see what they're doing or what
Sure.
their needs are, and then I'm assuming the court system's gonna need something, you're familiar with the court system. I don't know if that's separate from us or not.
I don't know the answer to that. It's a
Okay.
question.
And and Ray might know.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. I'm gonna hand out some business cards to you guys if you don't mind.
Thank you.
I'm gonna throw it to you.
That'll work. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Abby.
so again, I would ask that you reach out to Abby when you're ready to
Sure.
get on the agenda, but
You
you
bet.
can come and talk to them
Okay,
anytime.
all right.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate your guys' time.
Yep,
Go Hawks.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
all right,
Take care, guys.
yep.
That's fine. Let me card it back.
So, motion to allow
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. Motion to allow claims and approve reports in the amount of $201,734.65.
Second. You made the motion, right? Or did you not motion it?
No, that's fine. Yeah, I can motion it.
Oh, I thought you said you, hang on. Hey,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
You sure can.
So is this the
If it
same?
requires me talking, it's probably,
Well, but that put Abby, keep you quiet.
okay.
that's a pretty good job.
When I saw he was here, I was concerned. I wonder what he wants to talk about.
Oh, well, remember I said to you,
Uh-huh.
all right.
We're done. Motion to adjourn.
Yes, and I will be leaving shortly. I've got to,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I've got to,